And just as a matter of the fact, when I was willing to rap, I was trying to put myself about from any kind of a gap because I was not at all taking a part in getting myself to bring any chasm, garaging myself in the judge because I was like silly purification for everybody else because the matter of the fact it was just a reverse psychology from my side, rather everybody else being the worthless of kind because I'm trying to getting myself like not at all telling the truth to anybody else. These are so trying to getting themselves being every time they get fucked and they get their business done what the fuck they are supposed to do. I need to make sure that I could be like involving all these cocksuckers, these fuckers to get themselves fuck on one another. I could be getting the money just from using them as pawn of my porn video because I could be getting myself like I could be like not at all getting myself like involved in all this kind of a bullshit. This kind of a way to getting myself like perjury because I'm trying to getting no need for myself at the same hole for the pace of my mind because I'm giving no damn to this excuse with this kind of like excuse to making sure that I could be like recluse for myself, not because I could be not at all letting myself like mentally in character for myself. I'm not at all like 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1 or maybe 1 is to 2 is to 1 ratio for my like own swagger for the TMing now or maybe ever since I had ever never been like this. Whenever I was willing to make sure that I could be never wear the same thing or maybe never wear the same stuff for myself or from the everything because everybody trying to get in myself being kind of driven out so that I could be not at all swaying on my mind because I'm not at all swayable for myself. I'm not at all trying to get in me into the same swagger of myself one because I'm letting everybody else not at all to let themselves to let me to do whatever they could be wishing on top of me to make themselves that they could be like trying to control over me on top of my game because I'm stopping the everybody else. I'm not at all tugging my way, not at all trying your vehicle away because I could be letting myself not at all using the petrol to try or maybe multiply or maybe making sure that I could be not at all over here to getting myself I could be getting into some way to getting themselves at the same kind of a way to getting myself like scapegoat decoy because I'm not at all trying to getting myself being kind of a, like eatable or maybe getting myself being preyed upon or maybe preyed upon by the like mercifulness or maybe mercifulness of myself because they could be having getting themselves not at all doing any kind of a like single purification the same kind of a ways because I'm not at all proximity for myself one my approximation about my life is not at all give me any vision of any kind of a like visionary vision that has to be like visualized by myself one that at the same kind of a day what I want to say is not at all a say thing that I could be saying about because my say for the thing is not at all saying me to sing because I could be not at all ending up as a good singer censorship for my style because I'm not at all willing to let myself go about this kind of a like way to say that I could be buying myself a stuff and everybody else to make sure that they could be getting themselves be careful like Bollywood BOULEVARD could be walking across this careful like path from this place to that place and maybe while the walk they could be enjoying the like ambulatory ambience between the what is the trail I mean between two rails of like tree stacks because they could be having it in the sun been kind of a like driven across this kind of a big wind or maybe breeze whatever you call it because wind is some kind of a thing you could be having to be getting yourself being kind of a cut by the windmill or the breeze is the thing because I'm not at all talking about the breeze for myself. I could be getting myself at ease maybe ought to be getting myself like not at all making a piece or maybe eating the piece at the same time because I'm not at all getting everybody else to do whatever thing they had thought that they could be doing for theirs kind of a mind and my mind is not at all being mind envisaged by my side because my speculation my association of my cogitation of my ideation about myself is not at all I'd wait for myself from the day zero or maybe even beneath and from negative side of the kind of a time scale of so as to say or be like that because I can be not at all OB AOB like that or whatever. I could be not at all trying to say that I could be like not at all getting myself being driven myself being to say that I could be like speaking myself as some kind of a way to say that I could be eating on spaghetti not at all eating on every kind of a like what to say or maybe some delicacy because my delicacy is not at all like heavier because I'm not at all going to eat any stuff that is kind of a not at all pre-cooked or maybe cooked or maybe whatever kind of a thing that is not at all completely kind of a devoid of any bullshit because I could be getting myself like not at all being kind of a like driven to marijuana people trying to get themselves overly converted to some kind of a like contradictory or maybe conventional controversial contention or contentment meant for myself because I'm not at all content for my side because my contention or my say that my viable or maybe my viable or maybe my valor or maybe my kind of a like skill or maybe whatever kind of a thing that is over here to make sure that you're making any kind of a commenting about this thing is not at all giving me any kind of a like ass or maybe what kind of a like any kind of a, like what do you call this thing is like the asset at the same kind of a time because I'm not at all kind of driven towards this kind of a people's asset and their assets or maybe their kind of a, like whatever kind of a genitals because I'm not at all over here to getting myself crookedly overtly counted maybe overtly kind of a, like congenital because my conjugal life is not at all getting myself being at some kind of a, like ways that I'm not at all supposed to be. Everybody is saying so to me because I'm not at all letting everybody else to make themselves to say that they could be like talking about the personal life to me because I could be killing or not, but definitely I could be killing, I could be like suggesting them in terms of money for myself because I could be like suggesting them how they could be like fucking themselves, fucking their mom, or maybe fucking the entire kind of a like family system to get a like good marital life for themselves, and that is only kind of a thing I could be advising to everybody else because that is how I could be like relicking or maybe kind of rotting on everybody else, ranking myself top of the game because this is not at all my part of the fame because I'm telling on everybody else to go and shut up for your skin because if you will be surplus or if you will be surplus for yourself surpass surpass. If you will be surpass for your game, you will be surpass for your kind of system. You will be never be into kind of a deficit of your own kind of a health because your wealth is not at all any wealth of yours that is given by me. I could be taking it, stitching it. I could be getting it bankrupted. I could be getting it in the recession in the like flick of time within a matter of seconds, or maybe even more than that, or not definitely even lesser than that for sure. So I'm not at all telling myself to do things because I'm not at all letting everybody else to tell that they could be talking about some kind of a like talk that is not at all being kind of a like talking about to myself one, and I could be killing on everybody else to do something and they will never be able to do whatever they thought that they could be doing to me because this is not at all my need to say that I could be talking some kind of a thing that is not at all visibly or kind of a like invisibly kind of a like enviable for myself because I'm not at all telling on everybody else to tell that they could be telling me to do my stuff because I'm telling to everybody else to do stuff that is not at all a stuff for myself because I'm not at all letting everybody else to make sure that they could be giving me no kind of issues because my issues or my kind of like systematics for myself is not at all giving me any other kind of like association for myself one, and at the same time I could be giving everybody else no kind of like ways because people are trying to hold me down because I'm not at all being hailable by anybody else. So some kind of a hail that is kind of not at all hail meant for myself because I'm not at all trying to say the hello for everybody else because everybody else to think that they could be telling me not at all never be able to do whatever they could be having to be getting themselves being kind of involved, and I'm not at all getting myself being involved to myself involvement because my involvement in myself is never been my kind of like stuff because my stuff is to say that like you will never be able to do that they will never be able to say that I will never be able to make say that I could be talking some kind of a bullshit stuff that is not at all being a part of my own thing because I'm not at all trying to get myself being kind of like converted to myself kind of converting because my life is not at all given to give something that is not at all givable for myself one because if I will be giving everything to everybody else I could be giving them nothing except for wrath. I could be killing on everybody else. I could be like giving a like whatever kind of a bottom on their kind of a like back on their chest on their back on their chest or their back chest back some kind of a like time I could be giving them a slap in the meanwhile time because I'm not at all waiting to getting myself being given to any kind of like situation because I'm trying to get myself being trying to do whatever they thought I would be never be able to do because they thought this kind of a thought because they are not taught into any kind of a thing that they could be ever be able to do on themselves. They only kind of like surviving from some kind of a wishes or some kind of a prayer because I could be making themselves surviving to this kind of a like mode for themselves to surviving on their kind of self survivability mode because if I would be like doing my stuff my way, how the fuck they could be doing this stuff in their own way? I could be not at all letting everybody else to go and figure out because they will be never be able to do whatever they thought they have to be like capable of doing for themselves for, because I could be curbing no word at all, because I could be having to be getting myself being kind of curved from the introspection of themselves, because I'm not at all retrospection, not at all metro molecular for myself, because I'm not at all kind of like my way to say that I could be saying something that is not at all being sayable, maybe not at all being kind of like tell from my side, because I'm not at all psychic in my mind, not at all like citadel, not at all kind of like citadel, not at all kind of like what you call a monumental in myself, because I'm effigy for my life, I'm killing on everybody else before they could be giving me any beehive, and for the like matter of the spaghetti, I could be like not at all getting myself into any kind of like dagger, because I could be killing everybody else just with my feet. I won't be having to put myself into any kind of a need to put myself using any kind of a blaster or blasting themselves with bleeds, because I'm not at all bleeding on everybody else, rather everybody else is bleeding on me, and I could be killing myself like same kind of a way that I could be not at all killing on everybody else, because they could be killed in real life, and I could be getting myself being killed every time when I'm trying not to kill everybody else. That's why I'm not at all at the best of myself, maybe not, or maybe yeah, I don't know, I could be having to be getting myself into this kind of a dilemma, because my dilemma is not at all being kind of like as I way say to this, I'm not at all being able to figure out in this kind of a confusion utter turmoil of my mind, because I'm not at all getting myself being to say they will never be able to do, or they will never be able to say, or never they will be able to like make sure that they could be coming my way, they could be crossing my path, because I could be having to be getting myself away from the chart busters from my life, and I could be getting myself being to say that they could be talking some bullshit, but still they could be understanding what I'm saying. This is a matter of the fact of all myself concerned, because I'm concerned into it, because I never thought I could be having to be putting myself that I will be needing this need to get myself like turning down to like make everybody else to like understand, make everybody else to get themselves audibly suitable to my audio of my like rapping rhyme, because if I would be having getting everybody else to like listen to what they could be listening to myself, or they will be able to understand what I'm talking about and what I'm being saying in my rap. They will be feeling like I'm not at all doing anything except for mumbling, or maybe making myself like stammering my way, because I'm not at all murmur, maybe any kind of a breaking sound, because my rapping ability is not at all trying to murmur me. I could be murmuring everybody else, I could be ramshackling everybody else in their rapping rap, because I'm not at all getting myself to do whatever they thought that they will never be like putting myself into any like crossphobia, or maybe crossophobia, or maybe like twist, or maybe any kind of a like way to say any kind of a contortion, any kind of a distortion, any kind of a serpentine, aquiline, serpentine, or whatever kind of a crooked ways to get myself, I could be getting myself, like I could be getting my beaten, or maybe kind of a like ductile, malleable, or getting myself not at all being able to like overcome this kind of a like contortion that has been made to me by everybody else, because I could be contortioning on everybody else, or that we made to themselves by my me, because I'm not at all directly doing anything, or maybe I will be making myself due to this thing, making themselves being kind of a like acting upon themselves or not, but definitely in reality they could be acting themselves into some kind of a way that they have been made to be getting themselves like contorted by myself in reality, because I could be having getting themselves being not at all do whatever they in order to make sure that there could be utter nonsense in order to rap and rhyme, because I'm not at all rapping for everybody else. I could be rapping my rhyme in some kind of a way that they will be never be able to do anything of my kind of a stature, of my way, of my ability. That's not at all a possibility of themselves, because I'm killing on everybody else, not at all letting everybody else to do. They could be doing whatever they thought that they could be having to be doing for themselves. Now it's time for me that I'm not at all going to listen to everybody else, because I could be listening to myself every time. I could be doing the same stuff, because I don't know what I could be doing for the timing now. If I would be doing all this bullshit every time, then I could be not at all feeling the kind of like non-lanky in myself for, because I don't want to feel masculine, not at all masculine, not at all and the same kind of like gayish, not at all popperish, not at all kind of the homophobia, genic, or kind of a homogenizer for myself, because I'm not at all kind of a homeopathy in the same kind of a time, because my sympathy for myself is not at all any cup of tea, because I am not at all merciful for myself. Yeah, I could be not at all merciful for anybody else. This is my swagger of style. I could be getting everybody else to do whatever I would want them to do. I could be making them beg for their life, run for the money, or still I would be giving them any money, any life for themselves to survive. Maybe they could be calling it as their own to own for own self to do, because I'm not at all giving everybody else any opportunity to make sure that they could be opportunities to take myself, maybe opportune to get themselves to do whatever they never be taught that they could be having, get themselves into this kind of like turning point of their life, because I'm giving them kicks on their head, on their forehead, on their face, on their chest, everywhere in their head, in their body, like through 206 bones being broken to the pieces of shatter, because I could be shattering all them in some kind of a like ways that's not at all mentionable even in the like biological book to say, in medical terms is not at all medically inappropriate for myself or not, but every medical term is inappropriate or kind of overly like crooked for themselves, because whatever they could be using as their benefit, that has to be turning as their kind of non-benefits secretively, or maybe kind of like what do you say, I could be getting myself being kind of covertly everything being kind of like done, because to the thing that it has to be making myself being careful not at all being to say that I could be like bringing myself into any kind of want, because my want is not at all being kind of wantable for my side, because my psyche is not at all being kind of like psychic in my mind, because I'm trying to getting everybody else to do what nothing except themselves to fucking their own parental gene line.